Well, I was dubbed the nickname Bull for many reasons.
It's the priest with Eugene.
And we in the truckers lounge, baby.
Let's go!
My phones or whatnot.
Yeah, I got everything locked down. So, why did it do that? Timed out. All right, so anyway, so the update on the Baltimore Bridge is on the if the rules and everything. You were saying earlier about that's going to cut out what?
I think that was just mainly
Back
gonna
away
cut
from the
out.
mic.
All right.
Yeah, you said what now?
That was just mainly gonna cut out like over the road drivers. Over the road drivers weren't gonna be able to use those exemptions, just passing through the time that it's gonna take. Like if it takes you an extra 30 minutes to an hour, if it adds an extra 30 minutes to an hour getting through Baltimore, you're not able to use that exemption that the FMCSA is going to give drivers now. Mm-hmm. That's only going to be used for guys that's helping out with the relief efforts.
Yeah, and you're talking about the declaration, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, it looked like they're going to be waiving the if the fuel tax too. Excuse me. For the April 30th to June 1st quarter, and things will be starting at the end of May.
Okay.
Yeah, is that what it was saying?
I think it was like May 31st. So yeah, pretty much the end of May is what it was talking about. It was going to start.
Well,
yeah, and that was mainly for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was mainly for those local drivers, those port drivers.
Right.
That they were going to be able to use that.
Right. Yeah. See, all this going to be pertaining into just anybody like dealing with the relief. They treating this, they really sound like they're treating it like a FEMA project.
Right.
Like emergency declaration and all that, to pretty much open it, the money train back up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I think that they were saying that also with that. I'm not familiar. I'm not for sure, but I know that with some of the stuff that with that cleanup that they were doing, they was just trying to get the ports open as quickly as possible. And they were saying, I was reading somewhere in that article where they were saying that might be good. It may not affect like everybody, but some of the port drivers say it's going to kind of hurt them, because if they start sending those ships to other ports, that's less work for them, along with how long it's going to take for them to do their current job.
Something we're doing, just rerouting the freight on the vessel.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to hurt them anyway because their bridge is down. I know it's probably going to be a situation where it's going to hurt the average Joe, but the bigger companies, they're not going to. Any move they can make to save them money, that's the route they're going to go. If they try to flood that port and try to make this work and squeeze, they're going to have to pay them drivers for being held up in that traffic. They're going to have to take extreme chances with routing hazmat trucks through non-hazmat roadways. It seemed like they're trying to avoid doing that. That's why they're trying to rush like clearing the port and throwing the bridge back up. But the scary part is throwing that bridge back up. We already had one collapse. So you're just gonna throw some shit back up there. That ain't no count.
Yeah, and especially with the infrastructure, the way a lot of those bridges and overpass are already weak anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
I don't see how that's gonna. It's just basically just saving them money. It's a bunch of, what I'm saying? It just sounds like a bunch of BS to me, because it's going to be a lot of paranoia, anxiety with crossing that bridge, knowing that bridge collapsed in that way. So, like, what kind of protection you going to put around the bridge down? That's the most important part. I know they speaking from the lenses of the economy, but, on a microeconomic level, the people are like, F that. We're more worried about safety.
Mm-hmm.
Is this bridge going to be safe to cross? And now you got people in social media posting bridges all around the country now that has separation in them.
Hmm.
That look like they have a weak foundation where the pillars of the bridge is not, doesn't look like they're going to be holding up very long. But yet you got the government spreading money, you know, in all the right and wrong places, I guess.
Yeah. And barges hit those river bridges all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes they able to catch it in time, but other times, they're not. I don't recall seeing how many times they may have shut down bridges from people crossing because it's been hit or whatever. But they gotta put those what they call them, those I think they had a specific name that they called it, but just those barriers to protect the bridges from being directly hit from oncoming boats, any type of
Mhm.
ships or barges or whatever, so it doesn't hit those pillars directly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to make a correction. The if the rules is waived through May 31st, but the 11-hour drive time restriction with the additional 2 hours they're going to be added, and that relief is going to last up until May 9th.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're going to shut that exemption down way before the 31st.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to work. I think they kind of rushing it. You know, April next month. That's a lot of damage that was done out there. I think they kind of rushing it.
You mean May is next month?
Yeah, May is next month. I meant to say. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, they just want to have these rules until that time because I guess they assuming that they'll be in a better place to.
That's got to be, because the purpose, the purpose of adding that extra 2 hours is for them to take a detour, right?
Yeah, I guess that's to take detours and the extra time it's going to take for them to get in and out of those ports to make their deliveries or pickups or whatever.
Right. So it's either one or two things. From what I see, they either gonna try to throw this bridge back up, or they planning on having a lot of help around that time to where they wouldn't need that extra hours. But I don't understand how they wouldn't need those extra hours, because drivers will still be stuck in traffic. If you work them all the way to their last 30 minutes, they can't get in and out of those places before their time is up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would imagine they're going to be working around the clock trying to
Right.
get that bridge up 24 hours or probably 24/7.
Right. So the additional 2 hours, they might as well just go ahead and open that up. But they know if they do it in an ELD way, I don't know if the ELD companies could set their system up to where it's just specified to particular trucking companies.
Oh, okay.
When they do something like that in the ELD, like an exemption option on your ELD.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
because what I'm saying, they still want to keep the records of the ELD.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of hard that would be interesting to know if I'm sure they might be able to do something like that. Have it to where it's specifically tailored to those people who have to service that area, that port and everything.
Yeah, but that bridge collapsed at the end of May, right?
I mean,
Something like that.
it was the end of March.
End of March.
And
I mean, the
yeah.
end of March. I keep saying May. My bad. Yeah, it collapsed around the end of March. So, like, you don't think that's kind of fast for what I'm saying, for them to put a declaration in for that kind of damage? If this is supposed to be, for the workers aiding, to get the bridge back going, and the damage that they had and all that steel they got in there, you don't think that's kind of rushing it?
Yeah, but I guess I want to see
Yeah.
what all it's
Mhm.
actually, they're saying they're going to use it for, because is they is that for just to help out with guys? Well, it is. They said it's for the emergency relief efforts,
Right.
but I guess that's just the immediate emergency relief efforts. I guess after they've done with clearing debris and bringing in whatever aid that they need, they say, well, we're not gonna need it. We're just gonna take our time and build a bridge. Because when this first happened, they were talking about maybe about a year or so to probably get that bridge back. But 6 to 12 months, they said somewhere up and around there, 6 to 12 months to get it back built.
Yeah,
That's what
so
I heard.
okay, so
Yeah.
you saying that kind of justify the time range?
Well, I ain't saying it justifies time range. I'm saying maybe they're just using that time to say we're going to give you this exemption because we just need help clearing debris and just certain things, just for supplies, for essential things right now. And they probably just go to another method afterwards.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see how they're gonna be able to, you know what I'm saying? Just throughout history, or what history has shown, that's an indication that they plan on having like it at least a frame up by then, start building because those declarations, well, the declaration I know for the purpose of that time it's going to take drivers to have to get in position to deliver and pick up those loads, and then
Hmm.
they can't just shut down traffic unless they
Right.
plan on just doing this work at night, you know,
Yeah.
which that's something I hadn't seen. And even if they are planning on doing it at night, you would think it, working around the clock, that's really technically from the end of March to the end of May, that's 2 months. I hadn't even heard anything about if they recovered those other bodies. Have you?
I think they recovered 2. Yeah. Of the 6 that were missing, it from last time I saw, they had recovered 2.
Right. That's what I remember seeing. So I hope for the family's sake that they make that a priority
Yeah.
to recover those guys and not just leave them out there. That's tough.
Yeah, that is. And I know that they had the barges with the crane that was removing debris. I think right now they offloading that ship,
Hmm.
loading a lot of those containers off that ship. So they'll have to get all that taken care of first before they start throwing anything up, rebuilding anything, get all that debris and finish their whatever inspections and investigations that they're doing.
Hmm.
Yep.
No.
Yeah. So
Man, that seemed like it's gonna be a stretch. I think we're gonna get another report to where they're gonna be extending that out. I think they just testing the waters. They trying to be careful with it, I understand, because if it hits the ELD system like that, that kind of exemption, drivers all around the country gonna be taking advantage of that. And
yeah.
and every time something new pops up, it's like DOT, you have to get DOT about 6 months before they catch on.
Hmm.
Never
Yeah.
seeing no shit like that. They part of the same system. And want to come up with a regulation, and the one who's supposed to be enforcing it ain't even got a clue. So about six
Yeah.
months after the regulation been implemented.
Yeah. A lot of them, they don't be understanding. They don't know what's going on. Yeah. So, but yeah, it would be a way for a lot of drivers to take advantage of it and try to use that to, get around or go and pick up a load off duty drive or whatever.
Right. All right. And then on top of that, it's probably going to be an experiment as well, because they already. It wasn't a story out there that some of these big companies are trying to push for drivers to be able to drive longer than their 11 hours. Isn't something like
Uh,
that going on?
I don't recall seeing anything like that. If anything, I remember seeing companies pushing to to put more weight on a payload.
Right.
They'd put more weight on a truck to where they want the legal limit to be like I forget, like 85, 90,000, something like that, instead of 80,000 gross. They wanted 85, 90 to be the legal limit. So
That
I
may
recall seeing something like that.
Yeah, that may be what I'm confusing it with. I knew it was something like that. They was trying to get some extra going, get some kind of extra work out of drivers, but I thought it was something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I I don't know. But But speaking of regulation, I wanted to, we was talking about this guy on TikTok, content creator, drive for
Mm-hmm.
Western Express.
Mm-hmm.
He did that video about saving his company, a shipper.
You're right, saving them contract.
Yeah, saving him a contract. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So what he did was, I don't know how much of the story you follow. So what he did was he did what most drivers do. He got impatient, got to a shipper. It was a load that's supposed to been taking him home, and it was a delay on the load. And
Okay.
as far as like picking it up. So him and the shipper got together and decided to come to an agreement for him to take the load, and he took the load without being approved by his dispatch for the company. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That's pretty much the face of it, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was serious. That
Mhm.
he felt it was because of him. It's like he alone, saved his company, from losing account, because he kept talking to speaking of the fact that the shipper kept being was upset and saying, yeah, I'm tired of going through this, and hey, we've got to leave. We're gonna have to just leave them alone if they can't come through on this and everything. So he's like, hey, I'll just take the load. He took it upon himself. Say, hey, I'll just take the load, and then I'm gonna just tell my dispatcher later. You
Right.
know, because what he said, he waited 4 hours, 5 hours for them
4
to,
or 5 hours.
yeah, for them to
Mhm.
get back with him. And it took his company a long time for whatever reason. Why it take them 4 hours to try to get back with him on a load that they already had preloaded. I don't know, but uh, at the end of the day, he should have waited on them to get back with him.
Mhm.
Before because yeah, he did he take it to Virginia or he lived in Virginia?
Well, the load's supposed to been going to Roanoke, Virginia.
Okay,
Flatbed load. I don't know how far he lived from there, but it's supposed to be going like Roanoke, Virginia. I know
right.
he had like Baltimore Ravens type apparel on. So
Hmm.
I know Roanoke about what you say about 3 hours from Baltimore.
I think I'm thinking somewhere roughly around in that time frame. You
Right.
know,
So that might have been the area that he had lived in. So, anyway, he ended up taking the load and he ended up getting stuck having to sit at the customer over the weekend. And that's what he was mainly upset about that he didn't really understand.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah, because yeah, they told him. So I take it was a Friday, and they
Mhm.
told him that that load wasn't gonna deliver until like that Monday, and so now he upset with them that hey, I'm not gonna sit on this for the weekend. But he's
Mhm.
the one that took it upon himself to take the load. They never told him to take the load.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that right there, should be well, especially a teaching moment for him, but it's so many variables when it come to that because as a driver, and I know since this fraud thing happened, brokers are really notorious about this. They want to have contact with your drivers, but you got a lot of brokers that don't know how to conduct business, understanding the difference between the people that they're partnering with and the
Hmm.
drivers that they're communicating with.
Yeah.
And they get on the phones and they get to talking business with the drivers that's only really supposed to be between them and the company that they're partnering with. And that kind of give drivers this idea that, I'm a boss, in this truck and I make the decisions in this
Hmm.
truck. And that's not the case when you're a company driver or at least on an operator with another company. It's
Yeah.
it's 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 layers to those situations, just like with this guy. He said the shipper said, I'm about to stop using Western Express. In most cases, I say 90% of the time, the shipper that you're talking to is not the shipper that's actually making the decisions on what carriers are getting those contracts with the shippers. That's another thing that company drivers and lease on the operators need to understand. These just disgruntled shipping supervisors talking shit because they upset because they ready to go home or whatever. They getting held up or they running out of space on the docks because they have to manage the docks. For the most part, those contracts agreement between those companies and those carriers or those brokers, usually in the top office is in a whole nother state.
Mhm.
You know, the people, who are those, who are the companies contact is probably not even at that facility. And that's the thing that a lot of company drivers, at least on owner operators who haven't been on the side of brokering or having their own authority, that's the side of it that they don't understand. They think it's as simple as just grabbing the load and going. And they have to understand that uh, on the shipping side of it all, the receiver might schedule that for a whole nother day. The receiver's just gonna schedule for a whole nother day, and it's up to the carrier to orchestrate how we're gonna do it. Now, in
Yeah.
that driver situation, that dispatcher probably already knew that, but he didn't have to explain that to his driver. And that's what drivers got to understand, that the people in your company got too much going on. They don't have to explain every detail to you because he or she could have been working on finding a drop lot for you to drop that load on, as well as making sure they had a driver that was going to be able to pick that load up so that you could go home. And
Right.
if that didn't work out, they was going to just cancel him picking up the load, not cancel the load, but cancel him picking up the load. And they may have had another spot, but they're like, well, we're going to send him to this location toward home where he can drop that trailer and pick up that load, paperwork already on that load, and he can go. But
Yeah.
because he got upset, because he looking at his clock, the time he losing versus the time it's going to take him to get home, and that caused him to make a decision that end up costing him. Probably got him a write up with the company as well.
Probably did.
So that's like something that company drivers need to understand, as well as dispatchers need to understand. Within the company, that you have to understand that drivers working off a clock for a certain amount of time that they got to roll. So to have him sitting there 5 hours with no explanation of what's going on, that can also cause him to make a rash decision that could have been costly. Probably still ended up being costly. They might have had to, he probably act the fool because they might have was like, well, we can't pay you to sit over the weekend because you took a load that you wasn't supposed to do. But if he acted fool enough, they probably paid him. But guess what? If he do that again, you're probably going to be out the door. And that's not even an explanation that they're going to give him. That's why we letting you go. It's just going to be a build up. You done fucked up, you done fucked up, you done fucked up. Now you done fucked up big, but now we got to let you go based on that recent fucked up. We don't have to explain all your other fuck ups until you try to dispute it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and hopefully that's something he really learned from after he had time to, sit back and read his comments.
Yeah. Well, he cut them off. I know that much.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he had limited the amount of comments that people could post on there. I know when I saw the video, I
Okay.
tried to make a comment, and I saw that that he had it where you weren't able to make any comments on it. So
So usually there's a reason for that. A lot of people
yeah,
cut their comments off for a lot of negative comments, something that they view as being negative.
right.
And that's probably why,
Right. That's why I'm wondering if he is going to learn, because when usually when people do that, in my opinion, they can't take constructive criticism or any kind of criticism at all.
Mm,
So are they learning or are they just hiding? So they may have the demeanor of a cat. A cat don't even like the sight of its own shit. So
yeah, they buried.
right. Yeah. So it could be that he probably end up doing it again, thinking he a
Yeah.
boss. He's not. And as a company driver, you're not a boss. You have to follow orders. Even if you're leased on the operator, you're still a company driver.
And that what he was. He was a lease driver because he
Was
that's
he?
right.
Okay.
That's one of the things he brought up. Talking about he pays for his own fuel. He is he was pretty much breaking down. Hey, I'm a lease driver. I pay for my own fuel. I got a truck payment. you know, it was some of the stuff that he was saying.
Talking about in
While
that
he,
video, in there
uh-huh.
saying, yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't even think that was his concern. I think getting home was his
Mhm.
concern. Being able to get home in time. And when you are a truck driver, and it's normal to have that reaction when you try to get home and you waiting like that, and your time is running out. But now, shit, now more than ever, now that's coming with the territory, and they finna get tight on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
To where with your drive time and all that. So it's going to be a lot on how dispatchers is going to be able to route your trips. But if you're trying to get home, you can expect for your gross to be cut.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of cases where they tell you we'll get you home every weekend, that may be Saturday evening.
Yeah.
They may have you 600 miles out from the house picking up on Friday.
Yeah, that's
Comes
true.
with the territory.
It does.
But,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of them things where he really gotta take out his time to, in the future to see if that's something he's gonna continue to do.
yeah. Got a
Yeah,
lot going on out there, though.
hey, it's not like somebody dragging a car.
Yeah.
they towing something and it's skidding down the road.
You need to put just some yellow cones out there when you record. Cause
Yeah.
damn, because I was
Don't
looking. I was looking at the meter. I'm like, okay, that ain't coming from my side, and I saw your meter moving, and I saw that sound moving along with your meter. I said, okay, that's coming from him.
And then I say, it's something always happen every time I get ready to record. Somebody doing something. So somebody probably get their car repo because I heard somebody blowing the horn or something.
Oh, for
yeah, but ain't no telling. But like I said, with this guy, hopefully, that's a learning experience to him, and not only him, to everybody who watching it, to just regardless of what situation you in, how impatient you are, or how much information that you not receiving from your company.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's best just sit still before you just go off and pull a load like that.
Right. But see, sometimes it's well, I ain't gonna say sometimes. Like it's good as a content creator to be able to create content, invent, and so forth. But the video he created, it's a lot of drivers who done lost their jobs because of creating content because you're too critical of the company that you're working for.
Yeah.
And and I'm like, well, he might want to kind of be careful on that because he was, in my opinion, when you look at based on what's going on and the scrutiny that Western Express has been under, Western Express has been carrying a bad name since this post-pandemic.
Yeah, they
and they might, start letting drivers go behind stuff like that. We had this one chick, I think she called herself Pinky something. And she was with a company out there in Nebraska somewhere. You remember that? And they wouldn't pay her way to get home. And they were saying that part of it was because of the content she was creating.
Oh, I remember her because she did a video in the hotel, right?
Yeah,
Talking about it.
It took her about over a week to get home. I think she out of Georgia.
She waited for them to get her home, or she made her own way home.
No, she had to make her own way home, according to her.
Okay.
Yeah, because they wouldn't pay it. But I think something ended up happening. They ended up reimbursing her, but she had to pay to get a room to stay in.
Yeah.
And she said if it wasn't for the content she was creating, she said she would have been asked out. She wouldn't have had no money to even get a room or nothing. So I know she had to rent 2 cars. The first car she rented because the town they was in was a small car. So she could only go so far, I think, a couple of 100 miles with the car rental that she got and drop that off at a location. Was she in Nebraska? She was heading east. So she had to drop it off at another location, the next state or something like that.
If
rent another car.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, she lived in Georgia.
Yeah, that's what I just said. She's from Georgia.
Okay, Georgia. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then too, she had a lot of stuff that she had with her, like her stuff from her truck. which is probably why she, was only trying to drive home or as opposed to taking a bus or something like that. Because you think about it, you on the road like that, a lot of people got a microwave or some type of cooker and all your bedding and stuff that you cleaning supplies. So
Well, that's another thing too that guys should learn, like kind of get an outlook on what company you with, how long they have you out, and what you necessarily need to take with you. You know,
mhm.
taking all that stuff with you like that, a whole carload of stuff is easy to just to have that with just the stuff that you need.
Yeah.
I don't think, like me personally, I don't think that it's a necessity to have a toilet in the truck. I don't think it's a necessity. I mean, like it's convenient, but I don't think it's a necessity.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think it's a necessity to have crock pots, air fryers, all that in the truck. It's convenient, but I don't think it's a necessity.
Mhm.
So a lot of stuff that that they have in the truck for convenience, which they should, you have to keep in mind something may go south with this company. And you done seen the videos that how these companies are doing drivers. They find a way to hold these drivers at fault for the reason why they're letting them go, and
Mhm.
they just leaving them out there stranded with all their stuff.
You're right.
So now you in a position where some of this stuff you may have to leave behind, some stuff of value, some stuff that you paid money for. So if you think about it, you spent money on this stuff to have in the truck for your convenience because you're working, and now you have to lose it because of the way they let you go and the inconvenient spot they put you in. Guys have to keep that in mind too.
Yeah.
And that always have been the story in trucking. That's nothing new under the sun.
Mhm.
That just started. That was going on in the year 2000 when I first started driving. That companies were leaving drivers stranded for whatever reason.
Yeah, they would. And you got to find your own way home.
Right, right. Like the most they would do is probably give you a ride to the bus stop or something like
Mhm.
that. But it wasn't gonna be no car rental, nothing like that. And
No.
right, and then a lot of cases, like some drivers not even making, a lot of money like that to pay for a rental car and all that kind of stuff. There was another driver, a brother, black guy. He was working for this company out of Chicago somewhere. I forgot the name. I think it started with an E. And he was talking about how them folks did him. And he was like, man, he said about a month ago, he said, I almost had a stroke. He said, the ambulance had to pick me up from the truck because my blood pressure had went so high. And I
Mm.
still checked out of the hospital so that I could deliver that load and these people do me like this. Hey,
Yeah.
you can't have sentimental values to these trucking companies. You got to look at it.
No.
It's an agreement. I do work, you pay me. What I'm saying, whatever you agreed on my benefits, what I'm saying, or whatever. True enough, you hate to leave these benefits behind, but now you can't have that much love for a trucking company that you put your health on the back end for them. Because they not
Right.
gonna put their money on the back end for you. Not these big companies.
No. No. They not.
Yeah. So
No, not at all.
yeah, but like I say, I really think, and I really want to highlight it. I think brokers are doing this service as well as some of these shippers talking to these drivers about business like that because they don't understand what's going on. They're contributing to crippling a lot of companies by doing that because no matter what anybody says, if I'm making $50,000 a year and I'm managing my bills and I'm okay, I'm
Mhm.
satisfied. I'm not bothered to somebody tell me how much the person who paying me make.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And
Uh,
that's a problem. And then all of a sudden it becomes this thing where companies not being transparent with some are not being transparent like they should be. But it becomes this thing like company drivers and lease on operators try to play this role like they getting fucked. Not getting fucked. It's an agreement that you're negotiating, or it's not even up for negotiating. They let you know coming through the door, this is what we pay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is what you get a percentage of. And even if they doing a percentage, they ain't necessarily meaning that you're going to get a percentage of the contract they agreed on. They probably agreed on the contract in bulk
Yeah.
to do 100 loads for $500,000. And they have to break that down on how they're going to pay their drivers and all their expenses in the if factor.
Yeah.
You know, in case people don't know what if is, it's a math. You know, the if factor is a math that you can do on. A math formula that most businesses do in case something happens. You know, so
Right. And that's the thing. A lot of drivers, if they're doing the percentage, you'll get a percentage of whatever it is they decided to give you.
Right.
Like you said, it's not going to be a percentage of what they're contracted for.
Right.
Whatever we decided to give you, and it's what we deem to be fair.
Right. Because
Mhm.
because you know what I'm saying, it's so much, when a company is negotiating with a shipper, it's so much that goes into that what you're negotiating on. Most shippers, they don't at one time, and some still do want to break down on what they being charged for. But in
Mhm.
most cases, in this environment we living in now, most shippers looking for an all-in rate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just the same way the brokers are. They're looking for all-in rate too. Okay, I got this load going from Memphis to Jackson, Tennessee. What you charge me? $1,200. Okay, if you're leased on an operator, you don't want me to give you a percentage of $1,200, because see, if I give you a percentage of $1,200, then next thing you're gonna say, well, where my fuel surcharge at?
Mhm.
You
Where's
know
my
what I'm saying?
detention?
Yeah, where my detention at? Not realizing all this is wrapped up in that $1,200. So I may have to tell you $600. And then the
Mhm.
possibility, if you get detention, okay, I got room to pay you for that. I got room to pay you for your fuel surcharge. So that's why brokers are doing the industry a disservice by doing that bull crap. Which some of them I think do it on purpose, because you are giving somebody to answer the answers to an algebra problem when they still trying to learn regular math.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Then when you give them the answer to the algebra problem and they can't get it on their own, they automatically think, oh man, something wrong here. This some fuck shit. This right here, man, this problem ain't right here. Because I know I saw, he told me this how you do it. And blah, blah, blah. But I keep coming up with the wrong answers. I ain't understanding it. So I must be coming up with the wrong answer because it's on your paper now. Long as it was on the broker's paper, I was okay. I had all the answers. But now that the problem get on your paper, now all of a sudden things change. No, you never knew how to do algebra in the first place. And you need to
Right.
start at the basis and play your position as a company driver or at least on an operator and count your money and start counting other people's money, then you can profit.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, that's true. Because I remember when I was leased on, I used to hear the drivers always talking about they know they can pay more than that. They
Right.
know they know they can pay more than that. All that money they making, and
Yep.
all they want to give us is X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And I used to always say you can't make another man pay you your worth. Make another man pay you uh, what you feel like he should be paying. You take what they give you and make it work or move on.
Right. Now you said that now you can make somebody pay you your worth. You may just be waiting longer.
Hmm.
Like, so basically, like you just said, I was just basically simplifying what you just ended with.
Okay.
Yeah, you shit, you know what I'm saying? I mean, but like for the most cases, like you say, if you coming on as a contractor under another company's umbrella, it's really not much negotiation there because they already have they guidelines in place.
Hmm.
And right now what's going on with the trucking industry, which is what I'm speaking on as a owner operator who has their own authority, they're making it even more difficult to negotiate your worth there. Actually, what you're getting as uh, um, owner operate with your own authority on average is coming up less than what guys who leased on to a company is making, if not the same.
Yeah.
You know, it's
That's true.
unfortunately it's just being mapped out that way. When the storm is over, no one really knows. Now things keep happening. You know, look at what just happened. The Baltimore Bridge fell. If they end up coming out of more money for transportation purposes on that, when that bridge is built, they're gonna get that money back. They're gonna find a way to kill the rate, something that's gonna come along to find a way for them to kill the rate so they can get that money right back. So you liable to
Yeah.
see flatbed average rate, I think it's at what like 226 a mile in some states now. That bad boy may go back down to 185, 187
hmm
a few months after this bridge is back built. If you know, because see, because they gonna get some get back. If we go in and say, no, 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 I want this right here for it. I want $6 or $7 a mile. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but just know people hit back. You hit somebody in the mouth, be expected to get hit back.
hmm
And that's what they doing. You know,
Yeah.
I saw that personally during the pandemic. I knew revenge was on the horizon. You know, I already knew that.
Yeah.
You know, and brokers made a lot of money just like we did. It's just that theirs extended out longer. I don't think brokers are making the kind of money that they were making, like in the pandemic when the rates started so-called dropping. The shippers were actually still paying high dollars. Brokers were trying to get their money back. But I don't think they're making that kind of money now because too many brokers are going out of business, and the liability for a brokerage is not the same as the liability for a carrier.
Right. Not at all.
You know, and they going out of business like this. So just, you know, light bulbs should be popping off with question marks, you know, with that. You know, to a lot of the ones that feel like the brokers are still stealing from them. You know, well, why did Convoy go out of business? Is it because they were stealing or because they was the rates was so damn cheap?
hmm
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, you just have to ask those questions.
Yeah. Because a lot of those brokers, a lot of the stuff we found out about that was
Mhm.
that hey, a lot of the shippers they're going from using brokers to doing things in house and
Right.
handling things themselves. A lot of them are going from using a broker and doing it themselves to also saying, you know what, we're gonna get our own trucks and
Right.
hire our own drivers, you know, and we just do everything in-house. Now, of course, we know that creates more liability for them, but if the liability outweighs, I mean, if that extra liability is worth them not having all these claims and losing loads and not being able to track their own loads and the constant fluctuation in rates, why not just take on the liability? That way we have practically complete control or even more control and more outlook on what's going on.
Right, right. And then like you think about it, you know, like we've covered topics where we have you know, like uncovered shareholders, who the shareholders in a lot of these companies are
hmm
associated with. So when you own the cow, you own the milk,
Yeah.
you own all the meat, you know, you just paying somebody to deliver it for you. So if I look at it over time, which this is what most rich people do, they look at money and, you know, like, whereas if we look at something like, say, for instance, crypto and stocks, if we day trade, we looking to make something right now. When big companies start throwing money into stocks, that's for 5 or 10 years down the road on their expectation of what they think it's going to be.
hmm
So when you look at that, okay, they calculate up, okay, we on average, when we look at our data for the past 5 years, we've been spending this much amount of money on transportation. Okay, so if we was to get our own equipment, but we're going to spend a good amount of money on the front end, but we'll be saving 50% in
Right.
our expenses thereafter for the next 20 years. So
hmm
that front end payment is like extra money to them in their pocket that's going to be going in for the next 20 years that they looking at on their savings. So
hmm
Rich people count their money different, totally different.
Yep, I agree. Cause yeah, I mean, and that's one thing that I think a lot of drivers don't understand, that when shippers look at that, that looks way more attractive than than continue to go on as business as usual.
Right.
You know, being able to to reduce the amount of money that they paying out.
Right.
You know, because I think we made that similarity one time. You figure if they paid $6,000, they generally pay $6,000 on one particular lane. And let's say they decide, okay, why not we get a truck and a driver for that lane? We paying $6,000 one way, one load. Well, we can probably on that $6,000. Not only we get a truck and pay a driver, we can do a round trip and get a backhaul and all that stuff on that same load. So we're gonna come out ahead because that 6,000 is gonna pay for all of their expenses, probably.
Right. And on top of that, they can pay their company driver very handsomely, give them good benefits, because that'll still be only a percentage of the money that they be paying an outside contractor. So why
Right.
not put a driver in and give him good benefits, make our company attractive, and build a fleet?
Exactly.
But like I said, when you own the cow, you own everything.
Yeah, and those private carriers, hey, that's what make them decide to do that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, get good, dependable drivers. Which is one of the reasons why Walmart can afford to pay you $100,000 coming through the door.
Right.
I remember Ashley Furniture were paying their drivers, starting them off at like 80,000 at one point. I don't know where they are today, but they used to, pay very well.
Right. Right. They probably still paying pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But drivers just gotta understand that. I learned a long time ago dealing with brokers. When you dealing with a broker and they say, "Yeah, man, I got this load here for 2,800," with an average rate on DAT might say 2,950. You know, boss, I can do it for 3,150. And
Right.
I can't get it for 3,150. I get to about 29, 25. And well, if you can get up to about 3,100, give me a call back. Okay, well, I'll give you a call back, or hold on, let me check. If they give you a call back, chances are you'll get that load. You won't get many more after that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to keep looking for somebody to stay at their rate, because it's a reason for them to want to be at a certain rate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, drivers just got a lot to learn. What I'm saying. It's as far as when it comes to that, 'cause we got so many new guys coming in, and so many content creators exposing a lot of information about logistics and how it works, but they're not really breaking down the fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you got to take a master class to get that information.
Yeah,
But I learned mine off, just trial and error. But if you got the money to pay for a master class and it's legit, I guess it's worth it. I'm not trying to stop nobody from doing a master class, especially if they're authentic and got good information. But most people looking at the videos that they post. Go ahead. What you gonna say?
I'm finna say, especially they authentic, they got good right now information you can apply right now and start making money, as opposed to what we've seen so many times with outdated material.
Yeah. Don't nobody really have the right now information, because the who we call the customers, the shippers, they hadn't even got it figured out yet. They still trying to stop freight from coming up missing.
Yeah.
And save money at the same time, because with them, when they take a loss, the cut got to come from somewhere when they can't recover that loss. And from what we've been seeing with the freight fraud, they not catching these people.
Mm-hmm.
So drivers just have to keep that in mind. I know it took me a while to learn it, but that's why I started driving in 2000 and didn't get in my own truck to 2018. I always had a fear of jumping into the unknown.
Yeah.
And I started getting more familiar with some of the known around 2014, 2015, that kind of gave me enough motivation to say, hey, try it. And if it wasn't for the pandemic, everything would have still been smooth. But the pandemic caused a lot of it caused a bad rip. I'm getting an echo in my headset from somewhere. It might be coming from me, but yeah, it caused a bad rip in the business model
Okay.
of trucking.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
did.
right? Because you had owner operators, you know, and God bless them, that wanted passive income, that got money, you know, whether it be PPP loans or SBA loans, and they wanted to buy a bunch of trucks, and they was letting the drivers just run the trucks themselves. Well,
Hmm.
if anybody's seen the movie Noah, God destroyed the earth for that same reason. You don't let people run out of control on your land. You're supposed to have order on your land. And when you got drivers coming into your business, you got them out there running, you know what I'm saying, picking their own loads off the load board. No experience with picking loads, but they got them picking their
Hmm.
loads off the load board. You know what I'm saying? Which, you know what I'm saying, brokers, they don't know what the hell going on. They just know they getting a call from somebody saying, this is the MC number.
Right.
That's why I can't go too hard on the brokers when they communicating with the drivers and they telling too much, because these drivers have been letting they drivers just pick loads at free will like that. And I think for a business model, that's a big mistake. I
It
know
is.
some will disagree. I don't care, but the ones who disagree, they just greedy people,
Yeah.
you know, who want it all for nothing, with nothing on the line, no sacrifice. They just want it all at somebody's expenses. So the people who disagree with that, I don't give a shit about what they talking about, because they ain't talking about nothing, because most of them don't even have a business that's, you know, sustainable.
Hmm.
They trying to run, you know, they trying to run someone else's business. And I know there's a lot of owner operators out there that can relate to that, especially now with what's going on with the price dropping and the rates and the cost of operations going up. And you know, it's a lot of drivers that can relate now, but they were some of the same ones that saying I was a fool for saying that, or a hater, or didn't want to be transparent, you know, because everything was good. I mean, hey, everybody making $14,000 a week. Why not share the wealth? Why you can't share the wealth? And my answer was, because it's not gonna last.
Yeah, definitely wasn't gonna last.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people didn't know that was coming into it, thinking that's the way it had always been, and it's gonna continue to stay that way.
Exactly. Exactly. But speaking of cheap, you know, what's up with these two business owners down there in San Antonio, Texas, got their ass hooked up by the police doing some bullshit.
Yeah, talking about those Mexican brothers that was hiring immigrant drivers, Mexican drivers to drive
Mm,
for them, but
right,
but wasn't paying
right,
them.
right. Yeah, they my well, first to explain the situation, the half brothers, Jose the what is it? Jose
De
what
Jesus.
Yeah, hey, yeah, Jose D. Jesus. What's that?
Val-
Valquez?
Velasquez.
Velasquez. I can't read this shit. And who the Carlos dude?
Same one, same last name, Velasquez.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm telling you, first name you don't want to pronounce it either, do you?
Oh, Juan. I
Juan.
didn't see that. Juan
Juan,
Valis,
yeah.
Carlos.
Right. So Jose is 35 and Carlos is 51. They have brothers running a trucking company together, and they got charged first degree felony for continuous trafficking of persons. And the company
Yeah,
name is VSR Transportation, which is now inactive according to the FMCSA. They were recruiting immigrants from Mexico to work as drivers for their trucking company while threatening their jobs and exploiting their immigration status for the employees to continue working. But see, they promised a rate of 47 cents a mile. That's what they was advertising with their company, or $1,300 a week. You can't tell
mhm,
no immigrants no shit like that.
right. Yeah, you promise them that kind of money, and at the same token, wasn't paying them, and then threatened
Well, they
to
probably were paying them, but they probably were paying them at a rate of peso.
probably
And they
would.
probably like, oh, you go, what the hell is this? You said 47 cents a mile. Yeah, but you ain't American, so I had to pay you 47 cents a mile in pesos, which would probably be
Yeah,
what, like 10 cents?
probably would be. I'm not familiar with that currency, but I would imagine it'd be like about 10 cents a mile, the
Wait a
equivalent to 10
minute.
cents a mile. Yeah,
I'm finna look it
yeah.
up.
But yeah, man,
Spell peso. What is it?
uh,
P-A-P-S-O.
I think it's PESO if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
Let's see.
yeah,
Let's see if they
but
got a range. So 16. Okay, they got a graph here. So 16.45 pesos equal $1.
okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get up in here so I can put those amounts in. Let me see if I can put it in.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
probably.
What you finna say?
I was gonna say probably you did 1,300 US. What's the equivalent of 1,300 US to in pesos?
Where,
See
where
what they
was
say.
it at?
Yeah, but they basically was threatening them guys for basically, if they didn't want to work, because they wasn't. Not only was they not paying them, they was threatening to report their immigrant status.
Mhm.
That they were illegals basically, and so that right there probably kept those Mexican workers from doing anything, and then probably just forced them to continue driving and continue working
Mhm.
basically for free. And they said he was falsifying their logs for them, just changing their logs
Yeah, well,
around.
motherfuckers doing that for the American.
Yeah, there's a lot of them was doing that.
Right. Yeah. So that's you know what I'm saying. So I ain't gonna crucify him on that because so many had already been caught doing that. So let's see, 47 cents a mile. Let's see what that is first.
Yeah, see what they talking about on that. Let's see.
So that's gonna be 7.72 pesos.
Okay.
So 1,300. What is that gonna be? So that's
Uh,
going to be 21,376 pesos. They probably were paying them for 1,300 pesos, man.
yeah. And if that was the case, 1,300 pesos, that'd probably be equivalent to $200 US, $300.
I'm gonna see. That's crazy. Okay,
Yeah, it
now
is.
$200 is 3,288 pesos.
Okay.
Ooh, that's it. So $100 is 1,641.31 pesos.
Mm.
It wouldn't surprise me if they were doing them like that, though. Because because I'm pretty sure. I don't know this for a fact. It's just my opinion. One of them goddamn Mexicans, said that was illegal. Say probably reported them.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure it was. If they didn't report them, they sent word to somebody, and
Right,
and they were just anonymous.
right. Because I can't see because I don't understand the situation. Like with each Mexican that's coming over across the border, I'm pretty sure you got family behind that's probably depending on you to get that money. If you have an opportunity at that money like that, and then you get cheated like that, I mean, what else do you got to lose? It's
Yeah,
more like an attitude of fuck how I turn out.
yeah,
But I'm not gonna let them get away. You know what I'm saying? I'll go down with the ship to make sure they go down too.
hmm
Especially when you talk about that kind of money, because if they can turn that into pesos, I don't know how they spend their pesos, but they spend their pesos like how we spend $1. Like 1 peso is equal to say they for the same thing over there. Oh
hmm
yeah, man, we gotta tell on you. You really, you know what I'm saying, fucking over me. Yeah, we gotta
yeah,
tell on you. And
yeah. But you can't do folks like you already doing wrong already, and now you gonna mistreat your workers, and ain't expecting nobody to snitch on you.
yeah, well, for one, they was contributing to a lot of the stuff that's going on the border right now. So in Texas, that's probably going to be a major thing. ain't no telling how their court system is going to view that because they fighting to keep a lot of immigrants back up out of here. And you over here trying to help them over here by giving them jobs like that. Thank you for fucking over them because now we got your ass now. You know what I'm saying? So we finna hook your ass up, and hopefully this be an example to every other Mexican over here. You try that motherfucking bullshit, we'll hook your ass up.
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna make a good example out of them.
Right, because they
Yeah.
already busting them to New York and Chicago. Texas trying to get them out of there. And, San Antonio ain't far from that border. So I know they in the fight, too, with that, in agreement with trying to keep these immigrants back across the border because Texas don't want them in their state anyway from reports we've been seeing.
Mm-hmm. Because they not getting any help.
Who that? Talking about the immigrants?
The state of Texas, they weren't getting a lot of help along the border, because isn't Texas a and what you call that word
From like an independent state?
Not an independent state. I would have been thinking about it had we not talked about, because New York is one where they have to take in immigrants, take in refugees. What you call that?
Texas and Florida been busting them up there to the sovereign city.
Yeah,
they've been busting them up there. And in the federal law that they got in place doesn't make Texas stop. That's what New York is kind of like upset about it, in the uproar about it. And they are messing up their mayor chances to get reelected up there in New York because it's a federal law where he got to take them in, and they supposed to give them 3 meals a day and a certain amount of money, to survive. They can't let them work and all that, and the mayor thing is like, man, I wish they with the mayor of New York, his thing is like, man, I wish they let the people work, man. I need some servers. I need this. I need, he looking at monopoly. Like, shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need people in the restaurant. We need janitors. We need road crew workers that's going to work for the cheap.
As opposed to us giving it to them for free. Just taking care of them
for free.
As opposed to, because you said they got to take care of them if they come up that way, right?
They shouldn't have to take care of them. They shouldn't even be up there.
Yeah, but that's what they got. But that's what they got to do, right? If they bringing them into the city.
Oh, you talking about as far as along the lines he was talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying by law, by federal law, they're not supposed to let them work. I don't know if they're not supposed to let them work because of they may get loose and be out here, committing more crime. I don't know what the reason is that the federal government is not allowing some of them to work. I guess they got to go through some kind of vetting process. And he was just basically saying, as a mayor of a city, they could be beneficial to the needs of the city. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people who work in low-level positions of the hospital, restaurants, doing janitorial work, keeping public restrooms clean, fast food chains, restaurant chains. That's what he was saying, that it could bring, the city back to life. But, as an American, like most Americans, well, those benefits that the federal government allowing you to give to them, they could be giving that to us and pay us our worth to work those kind of jobs. Which is understandable. So that's why I was like, no, they shouldn't even be in that position like that, to where it's like a battle between the people who live here, the natives here, might as well say now, the Americans here, versus immigrants coming in, and they want to give those opportunities away for cheap. Essentially the same thing that Carlos and Jesus was doing.
Yeah.
They was just doing it illegal. They were doing the same thing this marijuana do. They was bringing over immigrants, putting them in the truck. Rates are cheap. We can't keep good drivers with these rates being this cheap and survive. So why not bring somebody over here that we can pay half to, and our company survive? Like, I get the concept. It was just illegal.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand it. It's a shame that the country got us in a position like that, to where we have to think like that, or even understand a rationale, something like that, But, it is what it is. I think leadership created these ideas that's going on now, that people are doing what they got to do to make something work, especially with running a business.
Yeah.
You know, like look at what they doing to the content creation sector. They want to have a little thinging ass digits on that. You know,
Yeah.
messing with stuff and want to limit this and want YouTube to put this kind of guidelines in place. They want to kick TikTok out of the country. You know, just
Uh-huh.
they want to have the government just want to have total control. I
Right.
mean, it just doesn't make fucking sense to me.
Right. Yeah. So I guess we'll hear soon about, they may have an article saying what was done, but they probably gonna try to make an example out of those guys.
Yeah. So
They gonna
yeah, go ahead. You said what
I
now?
I'm gonna say they're gonna have to, because a lot of that is going on right now with them coming across the border like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and most likely they not the only company that's doing it. You know, they probably just got caught because they wasn't playing the game right. You know, even if they were offering 47 cents a mile, they could have brought them over and just explained to them, look, not gonna be able to pay you 47 cents a mile, but I'll pay you this. I'll pay you.
Yeah.
You know, and I ain't aiding and abetting criminal activity. I'm just talking about how they got caught. You know, I think how
Right.
they got caught, but
Yeah, that's what it seemed
yeah,
like.
right. You know, they could have said, "Look, we're gonna pay you 30 cents a mile straight.
Uh-huh.
You know, keep you rolling." And I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, but if you sit for a long time and you lose time, you know, we'll pay you 35 cents a mile, 25 cents a mile, and we'll pay for all your meals. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying, or something like that. You know, they could have did that and probably still been low, but they wanted to get kind of crazy with it. Like, okay, you want to complain? We'll send your ass back across the border. You know that old bullshit that
Right.
you can't
Yeah.
do that, man. You know, what I'm saying? I don't care what
Yeah.
ethnicity you are, or where you from. Crazy is crazy in one language. You cannot talk crazy to people and think nothing gonna be done about it.
Right. And that's
Yeah,
how they were doing it.
yeah.
Trying to throw them that you're illegal, right?
Yeah.
Throw that over their head.
Yeah, like they've been watching Menace to Society or something. You know, they fucked up, right? You know?
Right.
Or what's love got to do with you die, bitch,
Uh-huh.
I kill you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Old shit like that. But nah, you know what I'm saying? They you know what I'm saying? If they played the game dirty like that, their asses need to be locked up because you set yourself up. You the
Yeah,
one, you
they
did that
did.
shit and try to fuck them folks. Basically, you know what I'm saying? When you look at it, they went out there and grabbed a barrel full of rocks and went and stood in front of the police station and just started chunking the motherfuckers at the
Yeah.
police station. That's basically what they did. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You involved in criminal activity, don't tell on yourself by doing people dirty.
Right.
Yeah, so but anyway, speaking of criminal activity, you was talking about this bag and stuff that the FMCSA done changed up now.
Yeah, that back in September they had changed, or at least made it law, as to why they changed the requirements for trucking schools to the way they present the backing. So they took some things out of the backing maneuvers and they just added just one simple thing. And but they made a lot of changes that really isn't going to really benefit the driver. The main thing the driver needs to do, that's something they pretty much going to do every day, they took away, and that was the alley dock. They took the alley dock away, and now trucking schools are taking so much time trying to teach them how to do the new backing maneuvers, to where, like, I work at a trucking school, and the trucking school we still teach our drivers. We don't have any automatic trucks, so we still teach our drivers how to drive a 10-speed. So that way they don't have a restriction on their license. So with that being said, we still try whenever we can to teach them the original alley dock, so they don't have so much weight on them when they get to whatever company is going to hire them and train them. And so that's the issue. It's taking so much time to teach them how to do the new stuff that you don't really have time to teach them how to do the stuff that they're going to use every day. So now you take a driver who is equipped with just the new way of backing, and they go to a trucking company, now you place the burden on whoever that trainer is to teach them the fundamentals of how to set themselves up for the alley dock and back at a warehouse, back at a truck stop, when that's those fundamentals they should have received at a trucking school and really got the practice and the experience from the trucking company that's going to hire them. So one of the things we've been wondering is, okay, is this going to create more backing accidents at truck stops or at warehouses? Are those trucking companies are
You say
really
you were
going to?
wondering?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a given. You've been driving over 20 years. That's a given. You know that's going to create more accident, and the infrastructure hasn't changed for backing, you know, and you know what I'm saying, in real time.
And that's the same thing that we think is going to happen, for the simple fact, are those trucking companies going to take out that time to really teach them to do something that they should have gotten at the trucking school?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That is the thing. You know, are they going to really take out the time? Because that's going to be frustrating for. I've also been an over the road trainer. I used to be a trainer. We called them a mentor at Swift. And so when you come through the Swift trucking school, they would teach you all those things. And so you just want to drive because, you know, I'm getting paid to train you, but I only get paid for the extra miles we're doing as a team. And if I'm taking up all this extra time to really train you how to do something I felt like you should have learned at the trucking school, every time we get to a location that let's say we get to a warehouse and you drive us there, what is that trainer gonna do? Hey, get over here in the pass side. I put it in.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
he's not going to take out the time, say, all right, I'm gonna get outside and I'm gonna guide you and we're gonna work this thing out. A good
Right.
trainer would. You know,
Mm.
and it really depends on how much time they got. But how many are really going to take out the time to just really teach those fundamentals that they should have learned in the trucking school?
Did you get an understanding of why they even took that out? What I mean, what was the benefit of them taking that out? And you
When
know, according to them.
there was no benefit. When we
Mm.
researched it, we was all trying to figure out, okay, what politician, what lawmaker tried to make this a requirement? Why would you change it? And so basically the consensus we came to was that that wasn't really something that was required in order to do their jobs. They wanted to
Mm.
change things around. Now, some things that we heard, and we kind of heard through the grapevine, that they were making it a little easier for the trucking schools. Now, I got to say this. I drive for a trucking school at a community college. Our trucking program is a 3-month program. So it's a semester long program, which is roughly about 3 months. So
Okay.
our drivers can still have the time to have a full-time job or a part-time job and then go to school, and we work around their schedule, you know. So that gives them more time. If you go to a 3-week trucking school, which most trucking schools are 3 weeks, 9 times out of 10, you got to quit your job to go to that trucking school. And a lot of those drivers, from what we were hearing, they weren't really passing. And I can't really speak on this saying that that's really true, but that's some of the stuff we were hearing, that they was having a hard time. A lot of people were failing on the backing portion,
Okay,
on
they was
teaching
trying to
the
get to the
alley dock.
bag.
Yeah, they were failing on that. And so they were trying to come up with a way, how can we have a better success rate, passing rate? And I
Mm.
think that was one of the ways. Let's change the backing, because this is what the number one thing that we've been seeing in our data that our students fail on, not the pre-trip, because you have 3 sections to your test. You have a pre-trip, your skills test, which is all your backing, and your driving. The majority of your students who fail is generally going to fail on that alley dock. That's what the majority of ours failed, was the alley dock. But they would have an opportunity to go back and retest after they got a little bit more training. And so that was one of the things that we kind of found out, that we felt that, okay, they changed it for that, you know, maybe through lobbyists, and they was able to get everything changed.
Oh, that's that bullshit coming through, that theory that they using of a driver shortage that never was. Yeah, they, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? They coming up with pulling some shit out like that. They can get ready for the insurance company to up them rates then. Them insurance companies
Yeah.
gonna up them rates. You take something like that out of the school something, unless you ain't planning on sending them to the Northeast no more.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have to do a lot of alley docking up there, on that
hmm
East Coast, with all them old tight ass docks like that right there. Boy, it's gonna be man.
Yeah, and that's why we said that, and it's tough to do, but that's one of the reasons why we said at the school, I'm with is that we're gonna still try to teach them the alley doc, because that's something that they're gonna need. But with them changing these requirements, it's taking so long trying to get them to get the full understanding of that. You don't always have the time to go on and teach them the alley doc because you don't want them to get confused and go and test and still fail because you were teaching them other stuff.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and then on top of that, they give a student room for grievances. Like, why are they trying to teach me alley docking and it's not required? I just wanna go ahead and do what I'm required to do so I can get to the bag.
yeah. And at the end of the day, the trucking school is there just to help you get your CDL. That's it. It's up to the trucking company to teach you how to be a driver.
Yeah. Oh,
so so a lot of people but that's the sad part about it that and that's pretty much a lot of it is that the sad part about it is it's more so about money than bringing out a good quality of driver.
exactly what it is. And
Yeah.
and, and people not understanding that these people making these decisions. When you talk about trucking, you're talking about really a bomb on the highway. So you got a bomb on the highway, with an inexperienced, misguided person driving it. So how
Yeah,
many families are we talking about in danger here? Because
exactly.
because the way I was trained as a truck driver, I was trained as a truck driver that regular people who drive four wheelers are dumb when it comes to the road, and it's my job as a licensed professional drivers to protect them from themselves. Because most drivers, regular drivers, they don't know that when you pull up on the side of a truck on the interstate, you speed up and you get on past that truck because that truck has blind spots. They don't know that when you merge back into your lane, you don't cut short in front of that truck because the truck doesn't have the stopping power to stop as
Exactly.
quick as a regular car. So it's our job as professional drivers, the way I was trained in what some of the young folks like to call the ancient times, we were trained to protect drivers from themselves.
hmm
That was our job. Our job wasn't to
Right.
deliver the freight. That was automatic to pick up and deliver the freight. Our job was safety.
And to prevent accidents. Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to
safety.
prevent accidents. Yeah.
Exactly. So, no. So that's another example of the powers that be destroying the industry. I think they're doing a lot of this stuff, gearing this stuff up for these electric trucks and these autonomous trucks.
Exactly.
Because
You
if
know,
you pass laws like that, I mean, like you think about it. If the argument in the House is, I can't vote on this bill because I don't see any statistics showing that autonomous vehicles are safer than a regular human driving a truck. 10 years from now, you're going to have probably more drivers out there that don't know how to alley dock than do know how to alley dock. According to the what is it called, the DAC report, the statistics of the DAC report,
mhm.
incident
Okay.
is the same thing as an accident. So if you got
Yeah.
drivers that's having a bunch of bagging incidents that's being reported on that DAC report, that justifies politicians' way of voting if they already against autonomous vehicles. Now they seeing data where autonomous trucks are safer. Because look at the numbers on the back end in the last 10 years or the accidents in the last 10 years. That gives them data. So I think it's a setup. You know what I'm saying? I know that's a conspiracy thought, but just with what's going on, I think that's a setup to justify a lot of these other avenues they want to take when it comes to transportation.
hmm That sound like one because that would be a perfect argument for autonomous vehicles.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
and that was just me hypothetically speaking, like the what if, that's the scenario that you got some politicians holding their votes on certain aspects of this autonomous movement and the electronic movement because of data like that in terms of accidents. So if you setting us up like that and you know damn well everywhere you go, you're gonna have to well, just about everywhere you go, it's gonna be case you're gonna have to parallel park a truck, alley dock a truck, straight line bag. You might have to bag all the way down the road. You may have to be in the neighborhood and bag up to somebody's house to where you might have to bag, you know what I'm saying? Get on the street, bag, and get angled to where you can pivot your trailer to go down this next street and then get straightened up and bag down and angle in somebody's driveway. If you ain't been taught the basis of alley docking, how are you going to have the patience and the confidence to do that?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I don't know. So hopefully, drivers will take it upon themselves to want to learn every aspect of trucking because their life depends on it.
Right.
But I don't know if that's the case. Like I say, everybody's so in a hurry to try to get to the money. They thinking this money out there in trucking. It's really not there. Then you dealing with this, what's this, Generation C?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, the
Gen Z.
Is it Gen Z? Because millennials are from the 80s. I think it's Gen Z.
Okay.
Gen Z is not a generation that wants to be told what to do or able to take constructive criticism, as a positive. They look at constructive criticism as a negative than a positive. Gen Z just pretty much got tunnel vision toward material things instead of, like having morals for what's right and what's wrong. So, we got a generation here that's getting in these trucks. They're not going to have that concern about learning it. Well, a lot of, I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm just talking about overall. They're not going to want to have that want to say, hey, I want to learn how to, do everything dealing with trucking. It ain't, you know what I'm saying? Because it was about the love for, want to drive a truck. When I started driving a truck, I didn't start driving a truck for the money. I started driving a truck for being able to have peace of mind and have a little bit more control over myself. To where I could be out in the truck, learn a new trade, and not have to be working around a lot of people in the warehouse, dealing with all these different personalities. I had confidence that the money was going to come sooner or later because nobody told me when I first started driving truck, you're going to make $2,500 a week. They never told a lie like that. So,
No.
But you got companies and owner-operators telling people lies like that now just to be able to get people in their truck.
Yep. They are.
And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's first thing they're gonna show you is either how much we can give you for the year, your yearly salary, or what we're gonna pay you by the mile.
Yeah. So everybody just I just hope everybody stays safe out there when all this stuff start getting implemented because I think it's gonna be ugly. Oh well, I just try to stay out the way. So, but speaking of trucking, this lawsuit that CRST tried to what is it they call? Oh yeah, they tried to appeal this lawsuit about this team driving situation. Yeah, you got a little bit more information on there, right?
Yeah, they did an appeal. It was a driver. He sued. He's a team driver with CRST, and he sued them because he said he's not being compensated for his time in the sleeper berth. Basically saying that when my co-driver is driving, I got to be in the sleeper. According to my law book, I'm supposed to be in the sleeper, and I can't go nowhere. And he said I'm not being compensated for that. And basically, he was saying that when I look at my pay, it's like I'm getting paid less than minimum wage when you factor in the amount of time that I'm on that truck.
Right.
And so, according to I think it's the it's called Fair Labor Standards Act, FLSA. according to the Fair Standard Labors Act, you basically it's against the law to pay somebody below minimum wage, you know. And so basically that's what his check amounted to for that time that he's in there. So the rule that the court basically said was that teams should be compensated for working as a team because they're being what they call it, the federal minimum wage laws. And so I forgot exactly how much that lawsuit paid out to him or was supposed to pay out to him, but CRST tried to appeal it, but the court.
So it was an appeal. Okay, yeah, you know, because you said earlier when you started, you said it wasn't an appeal.
No, I said
you said it wasn't an appeal. We'll play it back.
Okay. I said okay, so I said, yeah, that he had sued him first.
1 minute and about 20 seconds. Yeah, we'll play it back.
All right.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, that the that driver, when he sued him, they did try to appeal it. You know, CRST, they appealed to a higher court, which that higher court pretty much stood to the decision that the lower court had made. Right. They stood firm on that.
Okay, so they might have been trying to get it reduced. Probably, you know, because usually in an appeal, you can appeal the case or you can appeal for a reduced settlement, right? That's usually how they work.
Yeah, or they trying to just throw it out altogether.
Okay. So that's a wrap because they can't appeal it anymore behind this, right?
I don't think they can unless they go to the Supreme Court or something. They can probably still appeal it. You know, because CRST said, you know, we didn't feel like it was fair that we had to pay that because, hey, we paying them what we promised, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What was in the agreement? But dude was smart. See, he took his pay and he did a little math, you know, according to the time he spent on the road. And if you out there months at a time and you only making as a team driver $1,000 a week, and he had a point. That motherfucker too smart to even be hired anywhere else. They probably they probably got him on notice. Don't hire him. Yeah. You know, you got your money. We're gonna go ahead and give you your money, but you'll never get another job at one of these kind of companies again. And I know there's got to be some companies that specialize in team driving, which that's been a common practice since I've known. You get paid by the mile. You know what I mean? And was it all miles though back then? I think what they did was, I know Swift, they cheap ass back in the day. What it like 20 cent, 21 cent they paid each driver, so they made it like a combined 40 cent a mile.
Yeah, they'll do like a split. They might say a 50-cent split or a 70-cent split, and y'all splitting that in half, whatever that's supposed to be.
Right. But the mathematical part of it is they paying 40 cent a mile to the truck. And I guess dude found out, you know what I'm saying, a loophole in that shit. Like, oh no, you can't hide behind 40 cent a mile to the truck because it's two people in this truck splitting it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, unless they was doing something shady, because even with the split, you still getting your miles while the other person driving, supposed to be.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you're still getting paid for the total miles.
Right, you're still getting paid for the total miles. So CRST, now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't think about it when we was reviewing it to discuss it, but they must have been doing something shady. We might have to look deeper into that. They must have been doing something shady, or that must be a practice where it was some bullshit anyway, and nobody just really caught it.
Yeah. Or maybe the argument is that instead of me just being in the sleeper for 10 hours or whatever, well, technically you only have to be in the sleeper for 8 hours. Legally, you're supposed to be in the sleeper for 8 hours of your 10-hour break, you know. And I guess he's saying that since my co-driver is driving for his 11-14, I'm in the sleeper all this time. You know, I'm actually in the sleeper longer than what I have to be. And maybe
Well,
that's the
yeah.
argument he's using, you know.
Well, if that's the case, uh, these other companies can get ready for a lawsuit too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's not just gonna. I can't see that stopping at CRST and other drivers paying attention to this shit. Now, what they may do, what a lot of other companies do that's following this, they may do something like Walmart doing. You know, Walmart, they got. I heard something on the radio. But they actually got sued. Walmart
Okay.
was overcharging us during the pandemic, and they saying that if you got your receipts from around that time, they're going to give you $500 back. It's a website that you got to go to be able to pull your receipts and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to make sure I mention this while we're on the air, so anybody who listening to this conversation that may not know, Walmart is paying you $500 if you can prove your receipts, which you should be able to go on their websites and pull up the card information that you paid with and pull up your grocery list. Gene, we doing the show. You can't look now. you try to look now.
No, I look down, but shoot, that's something I didn't know.
Yeah. I heard them talking about it on over there with DJ Envy them yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they was talking about it. And if you can't come up with proof of your receipts, I think it's $25 they'll give you. Yeah, but it's a website. I'm gonna have to look it up and let you know which one, which website it is, because I said I was gonna make time to look at it myself.
Okay.
Yeah, give me some of that money back. How it is, man. You go there, you get 2 bags, you walk out there paying $98.
And how far back the receipts got to go?
I want to say it was like during the pandemic time.
So 2020 to 2022.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I had to go back and listen to it again to see exactly what they said. The time is, but he did say that you could go to Walmart website and you could pull your receipt from there if you paid which I'm assuming if you paid with a card. Because I know on their app, you can go to their app and pull up a lot of your history. I don't know how far the history go back though. You go on the app and pull up the history based on the card that you paid with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah. So I gotta look into that too. So yeah, so CRST, they could probably, well, not CRST, but the other companies, they probably gonna do something like that before a suit hit. They probably gonna try to make it right through bonuses or something. They're gonna try a way to having to keep from deal with this.
They gonna change something in their policy, throw something in there to, I don't know, because see, that ain't the first time somebody's talked about being compensated while they're on their break. Yeah, so because I think that was something they was trying to send through the FMCSA to make it a requirement to pay you while you're on your break.
Yeah, and that's probably going to end up having to fall in line for solo drivers too. So it's going to be a movement that's going to start on that. It's probably it's most likely going to put a hurt on a lot of companies, especially if the rates are being cut like they are. Yeah, they're going to have to find a way to manipulate them numbers and factor those costs. So if you a company driver and you getting paid high dollar on those kind of full truckload companies, they probably going to be killing your miles if this kind of movement starts or they getting sued. They're going to find a way to make up for that money now.
Yeah.
They're going to find a way to make up for that money. So you can get that out your mind thinking that they not going to find a way to survive because they so cocky that they feel like they the lifeblood of the country. Without them, there is no you. Without them, you don't have a house to live in, a nice car to drive, and all that. So they're going to find a way, even if they had to get help from the government.
Yeah.
They're going to find a way to manipulate them numbers to get that money back. Yep.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Well, brother, it was good doing this little conversation with you, man. I'm going to see you next week.
Yes, sir. All right, man.
All right.